Giorgio Cafiero, who's the CEO and founder of Gulf State Analytics, a geopolitical risk consultancy firm based here in Washington, D.C., but he joins us now live from San Francisco. Part of Washington's foreign policy strategy has been to isolate Iran. Do you see now the improved relationship that we're going to see between Doha and Riyadh? Do you see that working toward Washington's strategy?
A little bit, but not too much. You know, the Qataris are going to not be able to trust the Saudis despite all of this positive news out of the Gulf today. The Qataris are aware that there could always be a future Gulf crisis, a future crisis between Qatar and Saudi Arabia that erupts further down the road. So I think Doha is going to continue to maintain a very pragmatic relationship with Iran. I don't expect Qatar to join some sort of Saudi-led anti-Iranian coalition. Certainly officials in Washington would love to see that happen, but given the dynamics in the Gulf region, I don't think we can expect Doha to make that kind of move.
I'm curious to get your take on what motivated the breakthrough that we've seen. Is it the fact that the clock is running out on the Trump administration? And where do you see foreign policy in the Gulf moving forward under the Biden administration?
I think it's important to go back to September 2019 when the Aramco attacks took place. I think that was a moment when officials in Riyadh realized that Saudi security is very vulnerable. Qatar is not really posing any sort of direct security threat to the kingdom. The time came to begin focusing on real threats, real crises, not fabricated ones. But then the most important development was Joe Biden's win in last year's presidential election. The government in Riyadh is worried about the incoming U.S. administration being rather harsh toward Saudi Arabia. And this reconciliation is a way to build a little bit of trust between the kingdom and Trump's successor. I really think the Biden win was really the main factor that drove this.
And Giorgio, I'm looking at just these live pictures. It looks like Marine One has pulled up to the rally in Dalton, Georgia, but we have a little bit of time before the president gets to the podium. So I'm going to try to take one more question from you. What has Doha had to compromise in all of this to get this deal done?
My understanding is that there are some lawsuits which the Qataris are going to drop in exchange for this opening of the borders between Saudi Arabia and Qatar. But it's very important to recognize, though, that that Doha never had to capitulate to Saudi Arabia in terms of giving in to any of the 13 demands that were imposed back in 2017. Qatar could have had this crisis end back then had they met those demands, which would have essentially amounted to Qatar relinquishing its sovereignty. There was no sovereignty that Qatar had to relinquish in order for this breakthrough to take place. And for that reason, I think officials in Doha are feeling very good about the situation.
Continuing on borrowed time here, Giorgio, where do you see the Gulf relationships going forward from here?
It's an important question. I don't think that all of the other blockading states are going to follow in Saudi Arabia's footsteps. Let's remember that Abu Dhabi has a much more rigid and a much more hardline stance against Doha. Its problems with Qatar are much more ideological than Saudi Arabia's problems with Doha. Therefore, I think it's very likely that we're going to see the anti-Qatar bloc crack, and I think you could see Saudi Arabia and the UAE going in different directions in relation to the GCC's Qatar rift. For Egypt and Bahrain, that's a good question. Both of those countries are under a lot of Saudi as well as Emirati influence. And if Riyadh and Abu Dhabi go separate ways, it's going to be really important to see how Cairo and Manama react.
Giorgio, Cafiero, Happy New Year to you. It's been great to have you on. We really appreciate your analysis and expertise, as always.